experts say that about 40,000 cubic meters of debris has to be removed per kilometer when a landslide occurs. Kerala is reeling under its worst landslide disaster. In Wayanad, a series of landslides have washed away 8 villages. The death toll in this tragedy has mounted to over 270, and reports indicate that the number of deaths may increase, may go up. As of now, over 5,500 people have been rescued and admitted in hospitals in Wayanad. Over 3,000 people have been accommodated in the relief camps. But the worst is not over. The debris still blankets this large area. The NDRF, the SDRF, the army, they're all working around the clock to rescue several dozens who are feared trapped. But the pace of work needs to be amped up, obviously. What Kerala requires at this point in time is additional heavy equipment to clear the debris and rescue those still buried under the debris. It requires assistance from the centre and neighbouring states like Tamil Nadu and Karnataka in terms of diverting heavy equipment. While NewsX has put together an urgent priority list to expedite help amidst this massive tragedy, we appeal to the union government to coordinate special trains to send heavy equipment. In this critical time, both private and public, large construction firms should divert heavy equipment to relief efforts, and neighbouring states should divert heavy equipment to relief efforts as well. Meanwhile, as the teams work around the clock on the ground, let's take a look at the most critically affected areas. We will also talk about this with some experts who are joining us on the show. Major General Rajesh Kumar, former Director General of Military Engineering Services, is joining us on the show. Engineer Sudhir Krishna, former Secretary of Urban Development, also joins us on the program. Mr. Abhijit Sinha, highway expert, is also with us on the show. Before, in fact, I go to them, let me go to the big screen and show you what exactly we are dealing with here and what actually happened. Okay, so this is the point from where the landslide in fact trickled down at 1,500 meter above sea level, which is a lot of height. If anything is falling from that particular height, it will land with an impact. And the impact was felt in these places in Wayanad, in Kerala. The Velari Mala, the Chudal Mala, the Atam Mala and the Mundakai areas are critically affected. And that is the reason we have gotten to see so many people who have died or have been displaced and have in fact been affected by this terrible, terrible tragedy. All right, so here is, of course, the army working with the NDRF and the SDRF. You can see that there is a mountain of debris behind them. So here is the actual picture of rescue work in process when this photograph was taken. As you can see, the army is standing by. You can see people and rescuers from the NDRF as well as the SDRF making sure that people are taken to the nearest shelter to safety. And this is an image coming in from Mundakai in Wayanad, one of the most affected areas, critically affected areas as a result of these rains and subsequent landslides. And of course, these are make do, in fact, contraptions or bridges between two land masses, and in the middle, of course, you have the raging waters which have caused a lot of this destruction as well. And of course, these are temporary and they are very helpful in taking people from A to B. The Chudal Mala is perhaps one of the most critically affected areas where you can see the landslide took place. This red line, of course, depicting the pathway of the landslide and how it impacted this particular region. The Chudal Mala is trying to clear the debris. There could be people trapped. There could be survivors under this debris as well. And the NDRF is, of course, in need of JCBs and large equipment and machinery to get through to these people in the face of this massive debris. More pictures coming in from the NDRF in Kerala. As you can see, they are working in tandem and trying to, in fact, arrange for equipment, keep a stock of people who need the assistance from time to time. And these are heartening images that we see. And of course, the other area that we spoke about in my opening monologue as well is the Atamalla, another critically affected area right next to the direct line of the impact of that slide. the Atamala Wayanad, as you can see, these are temporary structures. These are snap bridges which are built by the army. It doesn't take them more than a few hours to actually get them going. They are temporary structures, but they're very, very expertly curated to help with the rescue operations as well. As you can see, the debris in Atamala is being cleared by the army as well as the NDRF and the SDRF manually in this case. So this is exactly something which should have been taken care of by a JCB or other heavy machinery, which of course is the need of the hour. The neighboring states have to be invoked, they have to be requested to send this machinery through train or freight trains to help people clear the way. So this is the kind of predicament that the people of Kerala are dealing with at this point in time. 270 people dying is not a small thing. General Brajesh Kumar, if you can hear me, sir. So Kerala is not new to such disasters, but the fact of the matter is, when something like this happens, how prepared is Kerala? How prepared is the state, or for that matter, any state, in making sure that at least the lack of equipment and personnel does not come in the way of saving lives?
You see, India, the entire subcontinent, has been faced with tremendous amount of such calamities. Periodically they happen. And over a period of time, the systems are reasonably well taken. However, I must confess that, in last about 2 decades, right from tsunami downward, you see, India's response as a nation, as a set of people, as an organization, and other NGOs have been tremendous. In tsunami, we not only helped ourselves, we went out and aided our neighbors in Maldives and Sri Lanka. Come what may, later, the earthquakes, whether it's Gujarat or somewhere else in Maharashtra, or in Uttarakhand, which keeps on happening, or in JNK. So we are pretty good at that, at a macro. However, having said that, there are SOPs at each district level worked out between the civil administration, the army predominantly, and now, of course, the later variants, NDRF and SDRF. Now, they actually meet once a year. They're supposed to meet once a year, rehearse their programs, tie up loose ends. I do not know whether it has happened or in this particular case or no. Even the equipment is so suitably located that these can be lifted in smaller time frame. So we have zones created. A big zone is in Shillong. The other probably in the northern part of the country. Here again, Bangalore or Chennai. So the resources are not an issue. Manpower is not an issue. However, the practice, rehearsals is the constraint. But having said that, I believe the armed forces, in army in general, and the sappers, the Corps of Engineers in particular, they have always been the first responders, along with the Air Force, medical teams, and communication team. Name any kind of a earthquake or floods or landslide, they are there. Even in this particular case, the army boys from Bangalore Center, MEGN Center, moved in within 6 hours from the time they were requisitioned, and they have laid a number of bridges, etc., etc. The point I'm trying to say, at macro level, we are geared up. At function level, there are issues. If you find there are more casualties, obviously there is a reason for it. Post-tsunami, India has woken up tremendously. You have cyclones both in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea. Our losses of fertility, of life, have come down tremendously because we have an early warning system. All the boats, shipping boats, who move out into the sea for fishing purposes, they are in communication, they are warned, people come back well in time, they are sensitized. Possible. In this particular case, the number of casualties suggests there is some slip up somewhere. Obviously, if people are sensitized, they are aware of it, they are not taken unaware, the casualty figures are less. They can manage their stuff better, they can move out, they can shift out. Somewhere there is something which is amiss. And now, with the technology, with the sensor that we have, we predict most of the calamity. If there is a problem in communication, well, we got to work it out. Now we see in and around the central government giving something, the state government giving something. We all each have our agencies to predict meteorological. It is available, data is available 24/7. So somewhere possibly that may have been the reason. But having said that, people have rallied about tremendously. Both the government, the agency, the people of Kerala, and the NGO like, we call it Swang Sevak, RSS, or whatever. They are doing a very fine job. And our focus now is on rescue and rescue. Though about 250 odd people have died, a very sad thing. There may be many more there, inside the debris, inside the slush. We need people to go inside, search room by room, debris by debris. We need sniff. The dogs come in very handy. The metal detectors come in handy. The other implements which are used by hand come in handy. You've spoken about major equipment being moved in there. What will you do with them? Kerala is a heavily populated area. The road space is so narrow. We will have deployment issues there. So first thing first, the army has done is nominated a commander, Major General Matthews from Bangalore, the Karnataka and Kerala Sub-area commander. He is down out there. The first thing is make road communication so that the relief material or people or medicine can reach those areas. To that extent, a number of bridges have been launched. Long bridges, you calling it temporary bridges? Well, these are our combat bridges. We use it in war. These are war equipment. The advantage is it can be laid, relayed, removed quickly. So these will come in handy for our people who reach there, give succour and find things out. And the next phase thereafter is relief. And we have to bother about, the epidemic which might spread because of this area has been devastated. That is our concern. Epidemic both for man and cattle. Agrarian societies will have fair amount of cattle.
Right.
They also get affected. So but with that I say, we are gearing up, we are geared up reasonably well, despite the initial hiccups in managing things. The death casualty in a place like this is totally not what you have in a bigger mountain ranges in the Himalayas. Thank you.
Right. Mr. Sudhir Krishna, it's perhaps today we're talking about Wayanad, but whenever the monsoon comes, if there is this this aura of civic calamities that we see all around us in the entire country. How is this a big problem? Because losing people to something like this is obviously preventable. If India is looking to be up there by 2047, these are not the type of norms, or these are not the kind of discussions that we should be delving into and focusing on year. Your thoughts?
I think we are paying a price for unplanned and haphazard urbanization. You see, people have to migrate from villages to cities, no doubt, and from smaller villages to larger villages, from larger villages to smaller towns and medium towns, and to an extent larger towns also. But the towns and larger villages are not prepared, not planned to receive the incoming population. At the same time, the desire to put up structures here and there in the name of tourism, in the name of connectivity. You remember in Himalayas, similar thing happened. Because we are making wide roads everywhere. We want to move fast and fast. We want to, raise the undulating hills. We want to denude the trees, the forests, and we want to raise plantation. We want to raise structures for hotels, for residential, and above all, unauthorized construction, slums and unauthorized construction of all kinds come up here and there. So we are paying a price for fiddling with the nature. And it is one very clear major example, and similar things have happened in the Himalayas also, because both these ends of the country are highly fragile, and I am sure Abhijit ji will throw more light on that, but I would say that. But what is required is regional planning. Madhav Gadgil committee in 2011 recommended to declare the entire hill range of Kerala as ecologically sensitive zone, and then so on. It has to go to Government of India, and it has not been done so far. But my point is, we don't require Government of India's intervention in land use planning. It is a state subject. Of course, Government of India can intervene. There is no prevent, constitutionally it is permitted. But even so, the state government is the first protector of people's developmental strategy, first designer of the strategy and protector of the life and welfare of the people, state government and local government, municipalities and panchayats. So the state government's town planning department must prepare a plan. They have got the authority. They can declare the area as sensitive. They don't have to wait for Government of India's notification. And they have to restrict the development. The construction cannot go on like this. It has been happening, and there are areas have been demarcated. What is required is that now we have got satellite imagery, ground truthing, we have got historical data. Landslide is happening in Wayanad, not this year only. Previous years it has been happening. A mapping of all the landslide, identifying the landslide zones, changes in the river course, land use changes. It is reported that from 1950s to date, 62% of the forests in Wayanad district have been removed and replaced largely by plantation. And plantation don't hold soil, they go in a different way. The root structure is different, canopy is different. So the land use has been changed thoroughly, and the land soil has been exposed, it has been loosened, and therefore when heavy rains come, we cannot blame climate change for everything. We have to prepare for that. We have to prepare ourselves for climate change. Rather than preparing for climate change, we are inviting more trouble by removing trees on one hand and doing construction right, left and center. Road construction, when it is done, it invariably, it does not take into account the regional drainage flow. The drain has to flow, the natural rainfall has to flow in a watershed basis. It cannot flow in a localized basis. No, it cannot go along the road. And the road people want to do a straight line. Remove the trees, remove the undulating land, flatten the undulating land as far as possible, and make the straight road with vertical and horizontal levels. This is not the strategy that we have to follow. We have to slow down. We don't want speedy vehicle movement everywhere and everywhere. Some of the areas have to be left out. You as well go take a detour, make the road as a detour. So I think haphazard or inadequate attention to planning is the root cause for this. Unless we do that, we are going to continuously face this hazard and this challenge year after year. This is a glaring example, and the rest of the country also has to learn the lesson from this.
Mr. Sinha, this fact that this is a yearly thing to in fact talk about and mourn over is also introspective, not only for us as citizens or people who are experts in various fields, but 270 people dying is obviously indicative of a lot of apathy which needs to be addressed here. It's the government of the day, it's the government of the state, it's the central government that needs to take stock. Calamities do happen, and we are a country which is growing. We are a country which is in fact coming to grips with a lot of problems. The administrative scale of this country is so large that all the problems cannot be wished away with the snap of the finger. But the fact of the matter is that when a particular thing happens over and over again, who's to blame and who's to in fact take ownership and onus of the people who are dying and the procedures and the processes that should have been into place? Because like everything else, weather too is dependent on technology today. You can predict it, you can tell what kind of a weather you're going to have in the next few days. Then why do we have these tragedies?
Right, very Vinith, you said, and you reached to a very important point. But before we conclude anything to putting up these claims on any people, we need to understand that India is going through right now the largest urbanization process. Every second, 30 people from a rural location is moving to a nearby city. And these 30 people every second who are moving to a new location are needing roads, are needing toilets, they need buildings, they need schools. So a lot of this scale of infrastructure, this scale of urbanization has never happened in the history of mankind. We are the largest populated country in the one or two, and this scale, when we are trying to translate it to a natural, environmental, climatic, there are no predictable or long range predictions can be done. So in such calamities, when we lose lives, whom to blame and where to go, what to be done, this debate starts. There are only always two ways to do it. One is the alert that we are getting. So clearly there is a case of alert which was raised on the 16th and 19th that there might be a flash flood. That alert, I don't know how it processed. It did not went to the state government or a central government. Not getting into that debate. And the second, once such calamities happen, then who will help? Whether the neighboring state will help, what is the immediate help can be processed and can be sent to them? That's the second part of debate. On these two terms, if we start doing in coordination with the state government and the neighboring state, we will be to an extent able to at least calamities and the natures, I can say this is unpredictable. Something or the other thing will keep on happening. But the priority is to save lives. If in the same matter, if lives would not have gone so far, so told, then we would have been in a relaxed position. Entire nation is looking at the rescue operation right now. Why those alerts which were given by the IMD on 16th July were not processed? Now when we somebody going to do an rescue, the debate is start, okay, neighboring state will send or not, NDRF will be able to take it up or not, or a state will be able to take it up or not. If state or center try to do a preparedness program that they are well prepared, then the local government bodies, they feel that their rights are getting infringed. Right? Our panel's speaker, Mr. Krishna, said very well that state, central and state local bodies has to be coming together. But whether it is true, a local municipal body of Delhi could not manage that what kind of institutes, what kind of work you are doing in the basement of a building. What on this level of scale we can expect from rural areas, from areas which are not the capital of the country. Obviously there would be overlooks. So the coordination, I'm in 100% sure position in today's looking at these continued calamities is we need to find out something what we have been practicing. The coordination, alert and the processes to prepare, at least if you cannot skip, then at least move people from that. If 16 July alert would have taken seriously and those areas people would have moved, at least, and there are dates that this would be the date where this flash flood will come. There cannot be a more precision. The people who are scientists who are doing these precisions, they usually come under Ministry of Science and Technology and the Environmental Science. This is a central body. NDRF is a central body. The coordination between state and central bodies are so not well oiled that we could not understand or we could not move people. And when we are doing rescue now, still there are a lot of debate that, okay, this party is doing it or not, RSS is doing or not, or somebody else has came or not, politician has to visit. So all this debate need to be kept aside. We need to save lives first and we need to prepare it. And this exercise should be done again and again. If sometime it happens that, okay, flood did not come, still we migrated people. At least we did the practice. At least the tandem has been practiced. That if such alerts are coming, which are very peculiar on the location wise, on the date wise, still it did not happen. Why? Nobody will be able to answer. Whether Kerala government and the central government are not speaking to each other, political leadership are different. It's a democracy. There cannot be a same party government in all states or center. There has to be a minimum viable coordination between federalism, where we work on this, we do not end up losing life in this.
You're absolutely right, sir.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.